Hello, I'm Alex,
And I'm Mike.
and this is Sustainability Bites, bringing you succinct discussions on all the hottest and most important sustainability topics so you can stay informed and make the right decisions for yourself and your business.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. 3 words we hear all the time, but we often only really think about recycling. After all, you put your recycling out to be collected every week or every other week, and brands are always boasting about how much their packaging is made from recycled materials.
Yeah, but is recycling best? Is it better to reuse another material, or is there an even better option? Let's take a look. Starting with why should we recycle or reuse products?
I think it's quite an easy answer, that one, really, isn't it? Both recycling and reusing have similar positive effects because they reduce the amount of waste that we end up sending to landfill, because otherwise we would just fill them instantly and there'd be nothing left.
Yeah, and they conserve natural resources, reduce greenhouse gases, as well as not having to extract those raw materials. So they're creating jobs for the collecting, sorting, and processing.
Yeah, and as well, if you're a financially conscious person, if you're reusing products, it helps to increase the lifespan of the product that you have, and it'll save you some money, which is always a nice little bonus.
Yeah, so they're all kind of part of this wider waste hierarchy. Recycling and reusing are just two levels in that waste hierarchy. And this is a tool that guides the way we should think about handling waste. We begin at the top with preventing the creation of waste in the first place. Minimizing any waste that can't be prevented, and then reusing waste that is created for another purpose.
Yeah, and then the final steps in the hierarchy are recycling, energy recovery, and then finally disposal, which just means sending it to landfill.
Yeah, so we shouldn't see recycling or reusing as two enemies between whom we have to pick a side, but rather two members of a wider team that's I guess fighting to protect the environment together.
Yeah. Among sustainability professionals, it's generally accepted, isn't it, that the top tiers of the hierarchy are more preferable, just because they reduce the amount of waste that gets created in the first place and requires less energy and therefore greenhouse gas emissions to be undertaken.
Yeah, recycling on the other side of the spectrum involves shredding, melting, or otherwise breaking down a material, so they can be processed and molded into something new, which requires a lot of energy, which oftentimes at the moment is generated using fossil fuels.
Yeah, I mean, that said, though, recycling a material is still usually less energy intensive than creating that same finished product using raw materials. And obviously, as we already touched on, it also diverts waste from landfill or keeps it out of the oceans, which is still much more preferable.
Yeah, definitely.
So that feels like a good point to end on, I think. It shouldn't really be a case of one or the other, should it? We should be using the entire waste hierarchy instead of having a preference for one. Generally, it's better to reduce or reuse the materials because they don't require processing in the same way, which means we reduce the amount of energy that gets used in giving new life to this waste.
Yeah, 100%. However, recycling is still a really important part of our efforts to reduce waste going to landfill and to reduce our overall greenhouse gas emissions. If you'd like to learn more about recycling, head over to episode 4, where we have like a much deeper dive into recycling. Otherwise, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sustainability Scope. If you liked what you heard, then be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Follow us on social media too by searching the Sustainability Scope. This episode of the Sustainability Scope was brought to you by AM Custom Clothing. If you need sustainable custom branded clothing for your business, band or brand, head to amcustomclothing.co.uk today.